Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Before I begin, I wanted to let everyone know that I made a new Discord server called Luke A10's Hangar. I plan on joining weekly, so if anybody wants to fly together, we can make that happen. My Discord server is linked down in the description below. Anyway, back to the video. Today, I'll be flying the Boeing B-29-A-BN Superfortress. On this day, August 14th, at 7 p.m., 79 years ago, President Harry Truman announced the unconditional surrender of Japan. I thought flying the B-29 would be a good fit for today and learning some of the history about it. The Boeing B-29 Superfortress was a pivotal aircraft during World War II and the early Cold War era, known for its advanced design and strategic impact. The B-29 started with design work beginning in 1940. Boeing received the contract to build the aircraft, which was intended to be a long-range, high-altitude bomber capable of reaching targets in Japan from bases in the Pacific. The B-29 was one of the most technologically advanced bombers of its time. It featured a pressurized cabin, which allowed it to operate at higher altitudes, reducing the effectiveness of enemy anti-aircraft fire. The aircraft also included remote-controlled gun turrets and a sophisticated fire control system. Production began in 1943, and the B-29 entered service in 1944. A total of 3,970 B-29s were built by Boeing and under license by Lockheed Martin and Bell, making it one of the most produced bombers of the war. The B-29 came in several variants, including the B-29A, B-29B, and B-29C. Variants were adapted for different roles, including reconnaissance and air-sea rescue. The B-29 was primarily used in the Pacific theater of World War II. It played a crucial role in the strategic bombing campaign against Japan, conducting high-altitude bombing raids over Japanese cities and industrial targets. The most famous B-29 missions were the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. On August 6, 1945, the B-29 Enola Gay, piloted by Colonel Paul Tibbets, dropped the Little Boy atomic bomb on Hiroshima. 3 days later, the Boxcar dropped the Fat Man bomb on Nagasaki. These bombings contributed significantly to Japan's surrender and the end of World War II. After World War II, the B-29 continued to serve in various roles. During the Korean War, 1950 through 1953, it was used for strategic bombing missions including nighttime raids. The B-29 was eventually phased out as newer bombers like the B-50 Superfortress and the B-52 Stratofortress entered service. Today, several B-29s are preserved and on display at museums or participating in air shows. The most notable example is Doc, a restored B-29 that flew again after decades of restoration. The B-29 Superfortress was a groundbreaking aircraft for its time, embodying significant technological advancements and playing a decisive role in the final stages of World War II. Now I'm going to get into the gameplay. I'm just trying to find a base to bomb. It's a little hard to find a base though because almost everybody in this game is a jet and they're a lot faster than me, at a lot lower altitude than me, and they're ahead of me. So if there are no bases in the game, you could also go for ground targets. They're a great way of getting research points and silver lions. You could in theory wait for the other bases to respawn, but that is if no other jet climbs up to you, which is highly unlikely. Thankfully, you do have very powerful backgunners. If you're actually able to hit your target, you can do a ton of damage. The B-29 has 5 gunners. If an enemy's coming in from behind you, that's where you're going to be the most lethal. Even though you're not a fighter, you're still very vulnerable. That's why you still have to always be looking around you, being aware of all your surroundings. As I'm trying to fly to a base, I see a missile get fired at me from in front of me. I'm going to drop all my bombs to hopefully try to use them as countermeasures. Missiles at this battle rating really do suck, so I have no problem with dodging it. This enemy is going to try to come and kill me. I'm going to get into the back gunner view. He fires another missile, but thankfully it doesn't connect. He is able to hit me, but it's nothing too bad. I just need to keep firing at him. He's just too fast and is flying away from me. I'm going to try to turn in towards him. I need to be defensive about this. He starts to turn in towards me. I go into the gunner view, and now I'm just going to try to get a shot off on him. Unfortunately, once again, he's too fast and easily outruns me. I see him coming back in towards me. I know I'm in a really bad spot here. I just really need to hit this guy. I'm hoping if I hit him enough in a bad spot for him, he'll hopefully get scared away. He's coming in. I just need to rain fire from below. I'm able to hit him, but then he hits me even harder. If this guy comes back for another pass, I know I'm definitely dead. Now I have 2 engines and my vertical stabilizer is gone. All I can do is just try to stay as coordinated as I can to hopefully not fall out of the sky. Me not having my vertical stabilizer is a huge issue. As you can see, I'm very unstable and I'm flying sideways. I'm doing a skid. All I can do right now is just try to make it back to my airfield. I have my power killed and I have my airfield in sight. I'm going to use the natural forward slip technique, which is opposite aileron and opposite rudder. In this case, I don't have a rudder, so I'm just going to use the wind. I see that I'm coming in too high towards my airfield, so I'm going to turn away and try to make a 360. I need to be very careful that my nose doesn't go too high and that I don't get too slow in the turn. I really don't want to get into a cross-controlled stall here because I don't have a vertical stabilizer. I say cross-controlled because I'm already flying sideways and I'm using my opposite aileron. I'm coming down a lot faster now, and I'm using my forward slip technique to the best of my ability. I need to make sure that I don't over-control so I don't spin. Now that I've turned final, I need to make sure that my airspeed keeps going down. I really don't want to put any flaps in yet because I know that I'm going to float. Flaps do create drag, but they also create lift, and that's something that I really don't need right now. I am still coming in pretty fast here on short final. I'm going to drop my gear and dump all my flaps just so I can hopefully get some drag in there. I really don't care if they get ripped off. I'm only going to dump my flaps for a couple of seconds because I really don't want to float. Once I'm at a sufficient enough airspeed, I'm going to raise my flaps, I'm going to drop like a rock, and then land. Of course, at a low enough altitude so I don't explode. And then just like that, I'm on the ground safely. Now I just need to make sure that I stop. My nose gear did come down, but I have no nose wheel steering. I'm doing the Tokyo drift on the runway here, and I know that's going to slow me down a ton. And all 7 of the crew survived. Now I've been repaired and rearmed, I'm going to try to take off again. I rotate here, and bring the gear up. I push the nose down to gain my airspeed back, brought my flaps up, and now I'm on the way to a base. But before I was able to get to a base, we win the game. Although I wasn't able to accomplish much, that was still a pretty legendary emergency landing. Thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my video. If anybody has any suggestions on what aircraft they want me to fly next, please leave it in the comment section down below, and I'd be happy to fly that aircraft.